Hello, welcome to my page. Chit Chat with Tumeka Moletsane. I'll try to make this worth your while as much as possible. This is a platform basically for everyone who's going through something similar as me. I was sitting around and looking at all these things that are happening and what people are actually branching out in, and there's a lot of makeup, there's a lot of fashion, there's a lot of lifestyle channels and page, and I was like, I need a page that relates to me, which is all about the experience that I'm going through at the moment. So the purpose of this page is just firstly to tackle issues that we're very uncomfortable to talk about. The first one, and my favorite is anxiety. This is something I've been living with for the past just over a year, and I've had a lot of people asking me questions about how I'm coping with it, finding out friends are actually going through the same thing. But why are we so uncomfortable to talk about it? Like, why does it take the fact that I say, oh, I have anxiety, for a person to open up and say, actually, I'm going through the same thing? So this is where we will talk about things like that, anxiety. This is just a mini series at the moment that will run for approximately 6 weeks. I plan to take a video weekly, depending on the demand, depending on the people we're reaching out, then we'll see how many. Maybe I'll take 2 a week. We'll see how it goes. At the moment, this will be a 6-part series that basically deals about anxiety. And today I'll speak about my experience, and I did jot everything I want to, like, I have a mini list here of everything that I just want to cover with this series. So first one will be about my experience, which is what I'll talk to you about now, and then we'll talk about, the second one will be the physical symptoms, the third one will be the support structure and actually educating people around you on the sickness, and the fourth one is the stigma around antidepressant, and the fifth one is actually questioning ourselves, whether do we have emotional baggage that we don't know about. And the last one is I will reach out to some friends. I have a friend who said she'll be more than happy to be in this platform with me, and she'll talk about her experience. She's the one person I leverage off very much because she's practically going through the same thing as me. So that will be the series. That's what we will cover. And if you have some ideas as to what else can we cover, please feel free to pop me a note, pop me a message to just say, can you please cover this? Before I even go any further, I'd just like to put it out there that I am not a medical practitioner. I do not have experience. I have experience, but I have not been trained to deal with anxiety. So if you are not sure whether you actually have anxiety, please visit a doctor, and so that they can give you the diagnosis that you actually have anxiety. This is my story, my experience, and I will tell it the way it happened to me. And maybe you can relate, which is great. So please don't take anything that I say here as, oh, okay, this is how it goes. It's so not how it goes. And so I just want to put it out there that I'm technologically disabled. Like, I'm not good with things like this. I post a lot of pictures because that's easy. You take a picture and you post it. But when it comes to things like editing a video and all that other jazz, I am so not good at it. So the content will be very raw and mostly unedited because I try not to stress myself about things that are complex. Like editing a video is not going to give me peace or anything in my life. So if I can't do it, I can't do it, I leave it and I move on. I have anxiety after all. So if I have to stress about every small things, then I'm digging myself an early grave. Anyways, so just a little bit about myself. I am Tumeka Molitane. I am 31 years of age and I was born and bred in Tarkastad, which is a town between Queenstown and Cradock. I'm the last of 5 kids from my mother, so Ndinguntondo, and I studied in Tarkastad. I moved to do my postgrad in Grahamstown at Rhodes University, where I studied a BCom in accounting. After that, which I finished in 2011, I started my articles in 2013, where I was basically training to be a chartered accountant, which eventually I did obtain it. I qualified. And now I am currently a senior audit manager at one of the big 4 firms, where basically my main focus is audit. It's an interesting career, but this is not what it's about at the moment. It's a stressful job that requires quite a bit out of a person, but it's a flexible job. It's very, you get to learn a lot. I love it, basically. So I moved to Ireland in 2018 to go pursue a career in one of the big 4, where I was an assistant manager in audit, and 2018 was all good and well. 2019 I got promoted to manager with the same firm, and so basically we have a period that we call the busy season. So this is a period where big organizations that we audit usually have their year ends, and now we need to audit their financial statements. So January till April was the period that we call busy season. Fine, this is now 2019. Busy season happened, and it's more a period where you're actually working 7 days, basically. So I was working 7 days a week, and we know about it, so you kind of mentally and physically prepare yourself that this is a period where I'm going to be working crazy hours, and you kind of immune to it because every job has its own time like that. So busy period happened, and this day, I think it was the 17th of March 2019, I finished work, came home, continued with life, cooked, we ate, took a shower, got into bed, and we were watching a movie, me and my fiance. We were watching a movie and I went to pee. I came back and continued to watch a movie, but there was this thing in me that I felt as though I was having an out-of-body experience where it felt as though I was there, but I wasn't really there. Fine. And then all of a sudden I felt this sensation, like it's almost like a heat wave of warmth just going all over my body. I got up because it was just a shock to the system. I got up and I couldn't breathe. My chest was tight. I felt weak in my knees, and my heart was beating at a pace that was just like, what is going on? I said to Keegan, body, I can't breathe. We need to go to the doctor. I'm dying. That's the thing with an anxiety attack. When it happens, you feel like you're dying. They usually compare it to a heart attack, except for a heart attack, apparently the pressing pain is much more intense. And then he said to me, let's go outside. We went outside. We stood outside for a good 20 minutes, and I kept saying, I need to go to the doctor, because in my head, I thought I was having a heart attack. And we stood there trying to breathe. I have never been so scared in my life. Like, I was convinced that I was dying. That's how it's such an out of body experience that you actually, because you haven't experienced something like that, you actually think you're dying. You actually think this is how death feels. So stood there outside for a good 20 minutes, came back inside the apartment, and I was trying to look online, what does this mean? And online they said it's either a heart attack or you're having a panic attack. Fine. It was a Thursday night. We were meant to go away the Friday for St. Patrick's weekend away. Fine. I couldn't sleep very well that night because I think my biggest fear in life is to die in my sleep. So I was like, okay, this thing has happened. It passed, and now I'm just shivering, and I'm now anticipating when is it gonna happen again. Fine. We slept, and I kept telling Keegan, listen, just keep checking up on me if I'm okay, if I'm still breathing, because I don't know what's happening to me. Fine. The Friday we went away, came back. We came back the Monday, and then the Monday it happened again. This feeling out of breath, heart racing so fast, I can't breathe. And then I was like, no ways, I need to go to the doctor. So I went to the doctor. The following day, I booked myself into a doctor, and I explained to them that this is what's happening. I had this sensation all over my body, and I can't breathe. My chest basically closes up, my heart rates. I have this feeling that I'm dying. And so she asked about my medical history. Do I have anyone in the family with a heart issue? Because it sounds like a heart attack, but she said obviously if it was a heart attack, you wouldn't have it wouldn't have been a sensation that passes by. But obviously I need to rule out any medical condition before I can actually diagnose you with any mental illness, basically. Fine. So my first thing that I did, obviously an anxiety attack mimics a heart attack. It's basically the same symptoms, really. If you Google's gonna give you an anxiety attack, or it's gonna give you a heart attack, because they practically mirror each other. So my first test was a ECG. Basically, this is where they put all these things, I don't know the medical terms, but it's the ECG. Basically, it checks your rhythm, whether you're having normal rhythms in terms of your heart, and it can detect whether you have had a heart attack. This thing came back clean, that there's nothing physically wrong with me. So my doctor was like, you know what, you have a very stressful job, you need to take it easy, you can't work 7 days a week. And then I was like, okay, cool, fine. Went home. This is now a Tuesday. Went home, and I'm basically now very in a position when I'm like, when is it gonna happen again? Fine. It happened again the same week. Now at this point, Keegan already knows that it's gonna happen, because I just jump out, because it's such a freaky feeling. Like it's you're really like, God, am I dying or what? So had it again. Probably it was a Thursday when I had it again, and then I went back to the doctor. Doc, this thing happened again. Mind you, because I'm going through this thing, my doctor can't prescribe me medication. So all she said is like, you need to take it easy. And I'm like, okay, fine, I can take it easy, but like, what is it? What is wrong with me? Fine. And then I said to her, because at that point, I don't think it's anxiety. I actually am convinced that I'm having a heart issue. I was not satisfied with the fact that my ECG came back clean. I was like, I need another heart examination. So she booked me into a hospital where I was supposed to go a stress test. So with the stress test, what basically happens is you ride on a treadmill, and they monitor your heart basically, like they put the treadmill very fast and actually just starts to see if the rhythm of your heart, how does it go when you're under a stressful situation. But because I'm unfit, I could not finish my stress test because I got tired, and then they were like, okay, like the minute you get tired, the test stops. So my test stops, but basically from what they had done, it showed that there was nothing wrong with my heart. But because I couldn't finish the test, I was like, no, there is something really wrong with me. Again, I'm not happy. I go back home and this thing keeps happening. Like it probably skipped every second day. And now the worst thing was that I was getting headaches every day. Like I had a headache every day. And it's a headache. I function normally, like I'm okay. It's just an anxiety attack lasts for about 20 minutes. And then after that, the effects of it, that you're shivering, your chest is sore because you were going through such an emotional, you put your body in such an intense position. So you can actually feel it afterwards. It's like it's almost like now I'm getting better. But I was sick, so now I'm recovering from that sickness. Fine. And then it kept happening, and I was doing breathing techniques and basically trying to relax because they said I need to relax, and I felt as though I was relaxed, but this thing was still happening. So went back to the doctor. Doc, this thing is still happening. Third test that I had to undergo is an echocardiogram. So this is still another heart test where basically now they plug you in again, and then they take, you know that thing that pregnant women, they rub the tummy with, they take something like that, but it rubs against your heart, and you see if you have any blocked veins, you see if there's any fluid around the heart. It's basically the test that should have provided me with a little bit of peace that nothing is wrong with my heart. Fine. I did that, it came back fine, that there's nothing wrong with my heart. And at this point, I'm like, okay, we're now into April. Like from 18th of March till April, I've undergone all these tests. I've gone to the doctor countless of times because I don't want to die and not having done anything with it. Okay, I did that. The last test as a test I did, and then the last test that I did was blood work to check if there was anything wrong with my blood. My blood test came back fine, apart from the fact that I had a vitamin D deficiency and vitamin B deficiency, and those things, they also add to your anxiety. So deficiencies, take supplements to actually make sure that your body is, functioning very well. Fine, that was all that was wrong. So at this point, I've ruled out any medical thing that is wrong with me. And my doctor was like, now I can diagnose you. You have anxiety. So, piece of advice, if you're going through these things, just make sure there is nothing physically wrong with you. Because anxiety mimics quite a few, including a heart attack, illnesses. So it could have been anxiety, it could have been something else. So just make sure that you are actually physically, fit, or whatever it is. Just make sure you're fine. So I ruled out anything that is wrong with me. And then I was like, okay, now this is a monster and a friend that I have anxiety. So my doctor explained it to me. I actually want to get the definition of what anxiety is. Okay. This thing says it's an intense, excessive, and persistent worry and fear about everyday situations. Fast heart rate, rapid breathing, sweating, and feeling tired may occur. That's the lamest definition I've ever heard. Um, because I believe anxiety is whatever you're going through. It's what you're feeling. But those are just parts of it, basically. So now I have been diagnosed with anxiety. What now? In my head, I believe that the minute I hit the period where I'm very relaxed, this thing is gonna go away. Obviously, it was triggered by the fact that I was working 7 days a week. But obviously, now that I'm going through, now I'm in April, obviously work is dying down a bit, then I'll be fine. You know, I was not fine. It kept on happening. It kept on happening more times and more times. I usually had probably three panic attacks in a week. Mine manifested in health anxiety because every time I had a new symptom, I always thought I was dying. I relied on Dr. Google. That's the worst thing you can possibly do for yourself. Do not self-diagnose yourself. Do not. Because in my head, I had a heart attack. In my head, I had cancer. I had all these intense things because the minute I put my symptoms on Google is giving me something exaggerated. That was killing me because I was convinced that I was dying. My anxiety attacks manifested into health anxiety, which was not good. It manifested in health anxiety and the fact that I did not want to physically be outside because I thought being in my own space at home was where I was safe. I was really scared to be out there because I thought someone could come and shoot me. Someone could come and do something to me. I'm in an environment where it's been controlled by so many people and someone could actually do something to me. I was safe in my comfort zone. I was safe with being at home because then I can control everything that's happening to me. I was scared of having a panic attack while I'm out there. So now I'm having this panic attack. So what now? My doctor is like, okay, you need to work less. You need to exercise. You need to do breathing techniques. You need to go for counseling because you have emotional baggage. I did not believe that. I actually thought I do not have emotional baggage. Yes, she was like, yes, work is the trigger that triggered your anxiety, but it was bound to happen. Your anxiety has always been there. It was going to come out because you have some emotional things that you haven't dealt with. I froze because for me, I did not have anything emotional going on in my life because I have dealt with that emotional baggage. But I won't go into detail about emotional baggage, whether I had emotional baggage or I didn't have. But I had to go for counseling to actually realize what was going on with me. I had 5 counseling sessions where me and my counselor had to dig deep. That's the thing about anxiety. You have to dig deep. And sometimes I feel as though we were looking for things to pin on that this is the reason why I'm going through this phase. But I actually don't know if that was very helpful. But we'll talk about counseling and emotional baggage all at once in episode number 5 when we're talking about do we actually have emotional baggage. But this is the steps that I went through where I had to go for counseling. I had 5 sessions of counseling with my counselor who gave me coping mechanisms, which I will share on the page as to things that you can do, breathing techniques and all that. And I will not lie, those things did not help me. They did not help me. They say anxiety, there's something that has been triggered in your brain. And I thought when I started relaxing, this thing is going to trigger back. Is Opindamusi. The switch that has been switched on. When I start being calm and relaxed, it's gonna go back. Like, if you said I was working 7 days a week, when I stop and work 5 days a week, then I'm going to be fine, right? No, it did not happen. I was still having panic attacks. Then it was, we're now in May, and I have no coping mechanism. I'm getting panic attacks left, right, and center. But at this point, we already know how to deal with it. I need to breathe. And there's other things, staying away from caffeine, alcohol, and all those things, other coping mechanisms that people use. But my biggest addiction, obviously, was Coke. So I had to kind of cut down all of that. I used to take Adcodol for my headaches, but obviously codeine makes you very hyper, so I had to cut down on things like that. I was literally, I was basically finding things that will help me deal with the situation. Like, I was relying so much on my phone that this Dr. Google needs to help me. Other people's experiences need to help me. And other people's experiences did not help me. I had to figure out what was going on. So now we are in June. In June, I'm still going through the same thing. I know when I'm gonna have it. I've developed new symptoms apart from the chest, and because if you're not having your panic attacks, there's other things that are happening on a daily basis. Like, if you have a good day of not having a panic attack, trust me, headache is there. If you did not have a good day, brain freeze is there. Things like that. But obviously, I'll touch on the physical symptoms on the next episode. But on a daily basis, I was constantly reminded that you have anxiety. So in June, my good friend came to visit me in Ireland, and we went to Greece. And at that point, for someone who has anxiety, at that point, I was scared of flying, because I did not want to be in a situation that I couldn't control. And obviously flying, I can't even see the captain. So if this thing falls or crashes, it's things like that. Can you see how messed up your thinking is? You're thinking about every situation and how much it can harm you. That's where I was in my life. I was at that point that everything was a danger to me. I do not want to die. My anxiety has manifested into health anxiety and into something else that is saying, you're dying. But I wasn't dying. So we went to Greece. I'm scared of flying. It's a 4-hour flight, guys. It was the longest 4-hour of my life. Got to Greece. We had fun, but obviously I have anxiety at this point. At this point, the trip was good. I tried to enjoy it the best I can, but the ultimate tipping point for me where I said I need drastic measures was when we went out for dinner, and we had planned a long night that, okay, we were gonna hop from these restaurants in Greece and just experience the culture. But I couldn't even sit through that meal at the first restaurant because I could sense that an anxiety attack was coming. So I told my friend, listen, after I have dinner, I'm going back to the hotel. And that's basically what happened. So after that trip, I said, I need help. And the only help at this point, the coping mechanisms haven't helped. I need a long-term solution. I need a solution. And my solution was these. This is sertraline, which is an antidepressant, which it comes in this box, but obviously there's lots of brands you can try. But I went to my doctor and I said, I need help. I need to go on medication. And at that point, I had Googled so much about antidepressant that I didn't want to take one because apparently it messes up your mind. there's a lot of stigma around antidepressant, a stigma that is sad, because people are going through these things, but somebody else is telling them that antidepressant are going to make you A, B, and C, and you take other people's experiences and you make them your own. If you haven't tried antidepressant, you can't make a judgment about them. So for me, at that point, I said to my doctor, listen, I'm ready to go on them. I had good conversations with my fiance about the fact that, listen, I think I'm defeated now. I need to manage this thing because it's taking over my life. It's consuming my life. I have bear and grinded for the past 3 months dealing with this thing. I need help. So I said, sign me up. I'm ready. I'm ready. That was in June. I got a prescription for antidepressant. I got a prescription for Xanax. So those are two different classes of medication. So the Xanax, I was prescribed 7 of them. It's very addictive. People with drug problems and stuff like that, they usually talk about Xanax. And in my head, Xanax was intense. But I was prescribed Xanax. Basically, I take Xanax when I have an attack. I take it, and within a few seconds, it calms me down. But I try to not heavily rely on it because you get a sense of calm that is beyond calm, and to a point like that you're drowsy, you want to sleep. So I haven't been prescribed Xanax in a long time. Since I was in Dublin, I've been back for about a year now. I've only taken it once since I've been back in SA. But these babies I take on a daily basis. This is citrulline, 50 milligrams. I take it every day. This is what's helping me cope. I ignored the stigma because each and every other helping mechanism didn't work. So I had to stick to these babies. So I've been on antidepressant since June 2019. So I've basically been on them for a year. So the purpose of them is basically to correct that switch that has gone wrong here. Can I say that antidepressant, the things that I read about them, are correct? Yes and no. Antidepressant are not making me a zombie. They are making me function. Unfortunately, obviously, there are people whose anxiety vests into depression. Mine hasn't. Mine isn't. I'm not depressed. But obviously, you need to speak to your doctor about the correct method of how you should go about this. I was put on 100 milligrams for about 2 weeks, and it was the worst 2 weeks of my life. The side effects of being on that medication, they're intense. And then after the 2 weeks, I was put on the 50 milligram, which I've been on now since last year June, and it has helped me. I will not lie. I function because of them. It has not taken away my anxiety, but it has helped me cope with my anxiety. So that's basically my story. That's my experience. That's what has happened to me. And it actually taught me a very important lesson, because I used to pray when this thing happened. Before I went on the medication, when I was having it, I used to pray and ask God, why me? But the question is more so, why not you? Why do you think you're immune to it? There's a lot of people out there that are going through this thing, and when you're having an anxiety attack, you're looking for an easy way out. And you're actually saying, God, please take it away. Like, I don't want it. It's painful. It's the most painful experience. I don't wish it on my worst enemy. That's how bad it is. But this thing has been put in my life for a reason. It has been my friend, and it has been a monster. It has made me change my lifestyle in so many ways. And to a certain extent, I'm glad I went through it. I've been in a position where I've helped other people that have told me, this is what I'm going through. And we have those conversations. I'm very open about what I'm going through. Um, like I can't, it's you hiding it that's gonna make it worse for you, because you're going through all these thoughts and emotions on your own. You need to speak up. Speak up about it. Speak up about people, with people around you, that, guys, I'm going through this thing. But the most important thing I need you to take away from this video is that you're not immune to anxiety. Secondly, you need to rule out any medical conditions that you might have. Thirdly, you need to see what works for you. I'll post the coping mechanisms that I was given by my doctor, by my counselor, when I was going for counseling, as to the other coping mechanisms. They didn't work for me, but they could work for you. I don't know if, for me, they didn't work because I didn't give them enough time to work, because I was looking for an easy fix. I'll post them later on so that you can take something and just see what works for you, what doesn't work for you. That's another thing. And fourthly, do as much research as you can do about medication and being on medication. There's a whole group of meds that are out there that can help you. But for me, medication was the last resort. I remember I had the prescription for about a month. Before I actually went and got it and started the medication. Educate people around you so that they know. So the things that we're taking away is, you're not immune to anxiety. Rule out any medical conditions that you might have. Find a coping mechanism that will work for you. Do your research about medications that are out there for you, that you could try out. And the last one is that you need to educate people around you. Educate people around you and talk. Talk about what you're going through. That way they know what to do to support you. I have an amazing support structure. I have my mother, who I did educate about this thing, that this is what's happening to me. I have my sister, who knows what's going on with me. I have Keegan, who knows exactly what's going on with me, and who knows what to do when I'm going through that situation, and who knows what happens to me after. Because anxiety is not about the moment that you're in when you're having that panic attack. It's the effect afterwards. Afterwards, you go through a phase where you just want to, I just want to sleep. That's me. I just want to sleep. My chest is bruised. It's like your chest is so bruised. It's painful that I just want to sleep. I just want to be in my own zone. But you need, but I can't say that I've actually figured out what triggered my anxiety, whether it was work or I actually do have emotional baggage. But we'll chat about emotional baggage. We'll chat about my counseling sessions, things we spoke about. We're gonna have deep conversations, basically. So I know this video is very long. It's very long. But I hope you'll bear and you'll just watch. Please be kind to me. This is my first video. And I'm not gonna edit. I'm just gonna post it because it is what it is. I don't want to take anything out, and please do not take anything that I said out of context. I'm not saying now you need to go on medication as well. No, you don't need to. But you need to understand and educate yourself about the illness that you're going through. Anxiety is sore, it's painful. I don't wish it on anyone. But we have now a platform where we can talk. I'm happy to have people come in and we can have conversations and we can have a chat and just see how you are experiencing it and how you are coping with it. That's very important to me. I'm creating an environment where everybody will know like what we're all going through. I think the worst thing that could possibly happen is going through anxiety on your own. I honestly think that's just a killer. You will die. And maybe that's how it vests into depression. So you need to be careful that it can actually become something beyond what's happening now. So that's my story. I live with anxiety, and I am happy that God planted the seed in me to actually be in this position. I'm not immune to anxiety. Why should it happen to another child when I've been ordained and chosen that it must happen to me? I'm embracing it. I'm learning to live with it. And I hope this series will kind of help you to get in touch with your own things. If you do have things that you want to share, please feel free to drop me a messenger on my personal account, or write on the wall if you're not shy. If not, touch me on WhatsApp or whatever works for you. But let's be there. But please bear in mind, I am not trained to deal with anxiety. This is my own experience and mine alone. This is my story, and I'm choosing to tell it the way it happened to me. I hope you'll enjoy this first video. It's a little bit lengthy, obviously. It could be longer, trust me. I've tried to trim and cut, but basically I haven't cut out the fat because I need you to understand what is happening and what is happening to me. So I hope you enjoyed this first video. I'll try to shoot another video sometime this week when now we're gonna be talking about, apart from an actual attack, what is happening on a day-to-day basis of someone who's living with anxiety, the physical symptoms that we go through. It's insane. We're sick every day, but we learn to live with it. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you will engage on the channel just to kind of talk about things that you want us to bring across. But at this point, the focus is just strictly talking about anxiety, and we'll see how we grow. Please share the videos with your friends. Share the video. I'm proud to put my face out there because I am not ashamed of what's happening to me. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you will type in your comments there and just tell me how I'm doing, what I could do better. But I don't think I care. We're trying to be raw, we're trying to be unedited. We're not painting a perfect picture, but we're painting real lives, real things that are happening to human beings. I hope you'll enjoy your Sunday, and thank you so much. Bye bye.